Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Big Time Boxing. I'm Mel Bernstein. Happy that you joined us, and you will be happy you joined us for this episode because I have a very special guest, a lady who has been a pioneer in some respects in broadcasting boxing, but more than that is just a terrific boxing announcer, an excellent reporter, and somebody who is a credit to the sport and to her profession. Crystina Poncher is joining us. And without any further ado, let me go right to Crystina. Crystina, how are you?
Hi, Al. Thank you so much for those kind words and coming from you, who is truly all of those things and more. It means a lot. So thank you so very much.
Well, you deserve all of those accolades. And most people know that you, in your work with Top Rank Boxing, um, you became only the second woman to do play-by-play back in 2019, and the one woman who has had a long run doing play-by-play on boxing. And when you started doing all moving into boxing more, because you worked with the NFL Network and you've worked in other sports as well, was that the specific thing on your mind, or did that just organically happen?
It organically happened. I had really no desire to be a play-by-play in boxing, mainly because I didn't think it was possible. And I also grew up in a hotbed of some of the best, play-by-play announcers of all time in any sports, living in Southern California with Vin
Oh,
Scully and Chick Hearn, and those were the voices that I heard leading a broadcast. So I never thought for a woman being in a position like
yeah.
that of any sport was possible, right at that time. My
And
my
probably
goal,
especially boxing, given its
for
testosterone
sure,
level.
for sure, machismo, testosterone, whatever you want to call it, all of that for sure. So
Yeah.
no, I was a reporter in Southern California. I wanted to, that's where I thought my lane would be, given what I saw across any sport. Not really so much in boxing, even because there really wasn't very many female reporters when I
Right.
started either. Claudia mainly being the only person I ever really saw. So yeah, it wasn't something I had desired to attain. I wanted to be a part of a broadcast in some regard, tell the fighter stories, etc. It wasn't until I continued to kind of move along with my progression and my knowledge of the sport and things like that, so I started to move up the ladder, if you will, to have those sort of opportunities.
And once you did get the opportunity, I know very from personal experience with you that you very much zoned in on making sure you were up to the task, number one, that you did justice to what that job was. Tell the fans, though, a little bit about your preparation right at the beginning when you were getting this opportunity. How did you prepare for it?
Well, I think what helped it my journey to that point, right, was my biggest preparation because I didn't just get thrust right into that role. I was a
Right.
reporter. Was with Top Rank. I did stuff with you with Boxing Channel, etc. So I started to learn the sport directly from the athletes. I had a journalism degree. I understood, what it was to prepare, study, watch tape, ask the right questions. So all those things kind of helped me prepare. And then I was able to sit alongside you. I was able to sit alongside Rich Murata, and of course the Colonel Bob Sheridan for many years, and learn from seasoned pros and vets like you guys, not only the storytelling aspect, which you do so well, but to educate the fans on what's important about these fighters, why they should follow them. And then I learned more of the technical ability and how to carry a broadcast, because the Colonel did it by himself, right? For many decades. So if I can learn all of these aspects, if I ever get put in that position, I'll be able to check every box. And it's interviewing the fighters, it's taking the time to go to the gym and watch sparring, it's taking the time to do research on your own, it's watching film, and then just getting the reps in. I knew the mechanics because
Yeah.
I was a journalism major and I went to broadcast school, but it was learning the intricacies of the sport, which I'm still learning, right? There's never the sport is
Always.
evolving, the athletes are new, it's always evolving, but it's all those things. And then being able to sit like as a reporter at the table and then as a color commentator and learn the flow between a 2-man team, a 3-man team, that then eventually when Top Rank approached me, like, hey, why don't we try to give you the lead spot? I felt like, okay, I'd sat in the seat next to the Colonel for so long that I kind of had an idea of what to do. And the fact that the pressure wasn't really on me because I didn't ask for it, it was kind of presented to me, and they
Right.
kind of put that trust in me. That took a little bit of the pressure off because it's like, well, if I don't do well, if I fail, it's not like I was begging for this opportunity and I'm getting one shot. Like they saw it in me. They knew that there was going to be some growing pains, and guess I did good enough job. I'm still here, so I guess they're
Yeah.
happy with what they had.
Very, very well put. And it is interesting. A lot of people don't understand how the genesis of these kind of jobs and the way they present themselves. And you mentioned, the influence of different people doing it. The other thing about it is that you've had a chance to work with some very good partners, which always don't always get to do. Chris Algieri has been
Oh
excellent.
yes,
I am loving the combination when it presents itself of you and Mikaela Mayer. To me, you
yes.
guys, I just had her on the show recently, and I think, and I commented on this publicly a couple of times. You two have a great synergy in doing this sport.
I appreciate you saying that. And it hasn't been easy for me these last couple of years on the international broadcast, having a series of different people,
Right.
sitting next to
Hey,
me all the time and trying to build a rapport. And carry a broadcast and teach on the job. It's hard, you know.
it is. Well, I have to tell you that back in the day, the original Top Rank Boxing series on ESPN from 1980 to 1996, there was a period. We did that almost weekly. There was a period where, and I swear this is true, for 8 straight weeks, I worked with 8 different partners. And 4 times I did play by play, and 4 times I did color. So I didn't even know what my brain was telling me to do. So you're
Right.
right. Working with different partners makes it a different challenge.
It is. It is. And Michaela's one of those ones that, we had a rapport from our several interviews, just me working for Top Rank and her being one of our fighters. So, and then being two women faces of the company. I think early
Mhm.
on we just clicked, but she's come into her own so much in that
Yeah.
role and has grown so much. And then getting the reps in for the Olympics. So once you put those two things together with some of the mechanics that I taught her getting the reps, and then of course her knowledge from being a fighter herself, I think that really checked every box as far as what makes for a very solid team. And it's not like just for women's boxing or men's boxing. I just think overall she's a great boxing analyst. And so being able to sit next to
Yeah.
her and have her grow, and she's still fairly new, like sky's the limit when she's done fighting for if she wants to
Yeah.
do this full time, I think.
I agree 100%. So the Top Rank had an 8-year relationship with ESPN. It's come to an end. And obviously, they're retooling to see where they head in terms of a platform for their boxing. And for you, it represents a change. I've gone
Yeah.
through that twice in my career. First with the first ESPN Top Rank series in '96, uh, even though I stayed with ESPN at the network, and then when Showtime ended its boxing. So when a boxing series ends, it's bittersweet. How did you process the idea of it ending and all the relationships of people that you worked with and all the rest of that?
Al, I think I'm still processing it, right?
Yeah,
Like it's only been a few days since it's really been official, and it's
yeah,
that night was hard. I think I shed some tears before we got on the air, just giving some hugs to some people that I knew I'd probably see for the last time or for a long time.
yeah,
And then when ESPN signed off the air and we signed off internationally, and the hugs with Tim and with Mark and with Bernardo and Tess, like these guys have become my family. And we've for 8 years have been on the road, sometimes 3 weeks in a row with each other. And we see each other more than
yeah.
our actual, families or extended families,
Right.
if you will, right? And the crew and everybody behind the scenes. So we've had gaps before, but nothing like an unforeseeable future or an end. So I'm still trying to process
Mm.
it. Really, I want to say, hey, you guys are stuck with me no matter what, because we're more than what we've become as just coworkers. But at the same time, to know that there's some uncertainty ahead, I think that's what makes it harder. Because if I knew I was going to go into a new group and we were going to form a new
Right.
family, and I could start building that. But because I'm like you, and it's no secret that Top Rank, we don't know exactly where we're going, or nothing's
Yeah.
been finalized or
Right.
shared yet. I don't know what that's going to look like, and I feel fortunate that I've worked for Top Rank, so essentially if I choose to move forward, it would be where Top Rank goes, I go, right? Whereas some of these
Right.
other guys are actual in ESPN contracts, so they
Exactly. Yeah.
stay, right? They stay with that. Bernardo, et cetera,
Right.
will stay with the network. So those kind of things are still up in the air. But I just think it's one of those things where it's sad because I thrive in that consistency and that knowing what's coming and knowing who's going to be there and the people that I can lean
Right.
on. But it's also exciting because you get ready to start a new chapter and learn a new people and a new goal and a new team. So uh, I'm excited to see what the potential opportunities are out there ahead of me.
That's the thing about it, right? You hit it perfectly. You, on the one hand, the consistency goes away, but it does open up other doors. Now, one of the interesting things is that you have worked in other sports, and you never know this. The fact that you're now not associated full time anyway at the moment with that boxing series may allow other sports entities to gobble you up also as part of in whatever form, even if it's a smaller role somewhere. Other sports are also at your beck and call.
I think once you've shown the opportunity that you can lead a broadcast team on a 4 or 5 hour show, right? You know how to
Hmm.
come in and out of breaks, sponsors, different
Right.
partners, etc. I feel like that skill set can translate. So you're absolutely right. I'm open to whatever opportunities do come my way. If it's something in the interim till Top Rank figures it out, whatever. It was starting a
Yeah.
podcast, like I've been, long wanting to do. I just haven't. My kids are still small now that they're in school full time. There's things that I for myself would like to do as well. So I'm
Right.
open to any and everything. Nothing is set in stone at the moment, which is kind of an exciting place to be for me right now at this point in my career.
And your work as a reporter is so extensive that any sport that would want you, whether it's as a play-by-play or otherwise, you could fulfill many different roles. Um, when the Top Rank Boxing Series ended at this past week, or that the relationship did, uh, it was kind of fitting. I thought that the final fight was Xander Zayas, Xander Zayas, who was a young teenager when he signed with Top Rank and
Yes.
actually started being on their broadcasts, some of the ones on ESPN. And then on the very last one, he won a world title at age 22. It kind of bookended that period in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it definitely was symbolic, right? Like he signed with Top Rank when he was 16 years old, had his pro debut 17. I've covered his entire career. And then, like you said, the culmination, of a homegrown kid and a Puerto Rican star with Top Rank at that, right?
Yeah,
Like those are
right.
those are important things. And so seeing him, graduate, if you will, to this next step is I think was the perfect ending in that sense. And also with two guys that I feel like have extremely bright futures in Bruce Shushu Carrington and Emiliano Vargas
Right.
as well. Great ambassadors for the sport, great, tremendous skills, good personality, great looks, like all those things. If you're banking on taking those guys into the future, to the next chapter, those are three guys that I think on that last show that you wanted to highlight. They're not the only ones, but they're three of the main ones. And then another one in Abdullah Mason they had joining the ESPN
Oh
broadcast on
yeah.
headset, who's another one who I think is, they should definitely ride his coattails into the future. So for Xander, I couldn't be happier for him and his team. He's been with Javier Centino, Peter Kahn since day one, since amateur days, since before pro days. And
Right.
to see him not switch trainers, not switch
Yeah.
managers, not switch promoters, and stay with one team all the way through, that's very rare in the sport, as you know. And it was very rewarding, I think, for all involved to see that night end with his hand raised.
Yeah,
At least
that's
everyone on that side, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good point. It's becoming more and more a rarity in the sport, and you like to see it when they can. I mean, he signed with the promoter. He has the same trainer, same manager. They move ahead, and it's a success story. And he has a bright future. Obviously, 22. Give us a couple of the moments of the last 8 years uh, and some of the boxing moments that stick in your mind that you say, "Oh boy, they were so much fun." I mean, there were certainly plenty of them, and maybe a couple fighters that you really enjoyed covering.
Yeah. I mean, I've been with Top Rank for 15 years, so
Yeah,
there's been a
yeah, I
lot.
shouldn't frame it that way because you've been
Yeah.
involved with them much longer than the ESPN,
Yes.
uh, you know, relationship. So you've had a lot of memories with them at these fights.
Right. It goes back to still the HBO days and still,
Sure.
we had a true TV series, etc. So
That's
I
right.
think
Yeah.
for me, covering Manny Pacquiao, the majority in the latter part of
Yeah.
his career was it definitely stand out for me. The type of fighter, the caliber of fighter he was, the epic moments that were his fights, the 4 fights with Marquez, like they're just the fight obviously with Floyd Mayweather stands out and covering a fight of that magnitude from the front
Yeah.
row. I hadn't seen anything like that in my professional career, especially at that time. Going across the world with him to Australia, filling that stadium was amazing. We went on a press tour when he fought Chris Algieri. We flew in like a private plane that was like a 747, like a regular size plane, but it was like a private plane from city
Yeah.
to city across the world. And that was just like nuts, like pinch me. This
Yeah.
is crazy. Macau, those fights in Macau, all those things, stand out to me. Vasily Lomachenko, his career from beginning to end,
Yeah.
what a special talent that he was, that run that he had when he was Lomachenko, making every opponent quit on the stool.
Mhm.
Some of those are some of the things that come to my mind.
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford as well. When he signed and took that big shot against Breedis Prescott on HBO that night, and we didn't know quite what we had in that moment to see where he is now and that progression, and just how his greatness evolved. That's been super rewarding. So those are some of the things that stand out to me. But really, the way that the team internally is like a family, the way that they've looked out for each other, the way that we put on a show, the way that everything runs from, Ciata and the way she sets up the show behind the scenes and Credential, everybody plays their part to make it. Honestly, anyone that's worked with us and worked with other promoters has said like it's the smoothest running machine internally. And I've been so grateful to have been such a part of that for so long as well. Because the product everyone sees on the TV is the end result, but it took a lot, to get it to that point. So
There's
those
a
are
lot.
some of the things that stand out.
Yeah, there is a lot behind the scenes for sure. And Top Rank has a reputation for you kind of put your finger on it, being one of the most efficient of all the promoters in boxing and treating it in a very business like way. And I go harken back to the series, the old series.
Yeah.
There was nobody in boxing who could have done a 48 show series other than Top Rank. I mean, I'm not, just isn't to denigrate any other promoters. It's just they were the ones that were equipped, I think, in terms of the business acumen and the group that they built to do that, to take that on, and some of that ability and resolve is what you saw in your years at Top Rank and how they function. Um, so boxing, I'll ask you this as we head out. Boxing's in a very interesting period right now on many levels. There's some things that are fluid, part of which you're very right in the middle of, as not just Top Rank, but a lot of people, a lot of groups overall in the sport, especially in America, think about how they can reach, what's their platform, how can they reach people, what kind of product can they put out to them. We have kind of a dual situation where internationally, boxing is healthier in a way or more robust than it is in America, even though clearly in America there's lots of interest as well. So it's kind of like the meeting of two minds and how the sport kind of compresses that and makes it work for fans.
You're right. And I think with Matchroom and DAZN and their influx and their success as of late has really helped to grow that fan
Right.
base. Obviously, with Turkey Al Sheikh coming over and bringing fights to the Middle East and expanding the platform to with the influx of money that he has to make some of the fights that may be attracting more of the casual fans has helped
Right.
worldwide. And I think just having the streaming platforms now, because those can be also reached worldwide versus a network whose rights, like
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
instance ESPN, can only be seen in the United States. So I think all those
Precisely.
things have helped tremendously. And I think those are things that even Top Rank's going to look at in the future, right? I think there has to be a streaming component.
Sure.
And I think they would love to still have a network component as well. I know we've talked about like the end of, linear television right now, but I don't think that that's ideal for it, not for a promoter not to have that. I think for Top
Yeah.
Rank, look, being able to have ESPN was a bargaining chip, especially for signing fighters. Like, look,
Yeah.
you're going to be on the only network that's showing boxing on TV, right? So I think they would love to have that in their pocket again. So I think that those are things that they're seeking out, and I think that will help to continue to grow that American fan base. And then Netflix has been a great addition to the sport, right? The amount of
Yeah.
exposure and reach that they have. We've seen that with Amanda Taylor and Katie Serrano and those fights. We saw it with we're going to see it with Crawford and Canelo. I think those are things that can help. But yeah, I think that balance, I think there still has to try to be a place for television, because I think it helps here in the United States, with that fan base as well.
Yeah, it does. And the sport, it seems to me it's in kind of a reconfiguration. When the dust settles, we'll see a little bit more of where it all is. But in the meantime, I say this all the time to people, the sports product is excellent. That no matter what's going on here, at the end of the day, the actual fights that are being made in the sport have been pretty darn good in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we're seeing more fighters taking risks against,
Yeah.
other top fighters, not trying to avoid the undefeated status, or with, if you will, promoters coming together a little bit more, making more fights with other promoters. Big kudos. I know a lot of people have particular feelings about Turkey, but what he's been able to do as far as making fights that fans want to see, you can't
Yeah.
deny that part. What Jake Paul and Nikisa have been able to do at MVP with bringing more female fighters and female fights
Yeah.
to the forefront is all great for the sport. So I think that we're seeing some of the best fights, and I hope that we continue to. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the future of these networks, but hopefully there's enough money to put there, because subscribers and streaming services do generate a lot of money, that they can continue to make some of these great fights. It's just an interesting time because we don't have a plethora of big name pay-per-view superstars in the sport as it stands right now. Some of them are on the latter part of their career, but I feel like in the next few years, with the influx of young champions or young contenders, that fast forward a few years, we are going to have some more major stars in this sport. We're just at this, as you've seen much longer than me, that the way that the sport goes kind of up and down with its influx of stars, but we have some people on the precipice that I feel like are going to be superstars in the next few years.
Very good point. And we'll see what it bodes for the future. We are also anxious to see what happens in the future for you as you continue your broadcasting journey, and we'll see how it goes with Top Rank's endeavor to come back. I'm sure they will have platforms that they can continue to show boxing, and when they do, we all look forward to seeing you involved in it. And in the meantime, you have a little period here to debrief yourself and get ready for the next challenges, huh?
I hope so. You know what I mean? I mean, at this point right now, I'm open to seeing the opportunities that are abound, because there's a lot going on right now, right? It's an exciting time, and I love what I do. I love to work. So I hope that the break, whatever it is not for too long, because I'm not just doing this for the money. I know you can tell, and I know you're the same way. Like, we genuinely love what we do and love this sport and care about it. So I'm okay with a little bit of a break, but not too long.
Not that
Because
long of a break, yeah.
I don't want to be sitting out for too long. That wouldn't be good for me personally either. But I'm excited to see what the future holds, what possibilities are out there with, boxing, outside of boxing, like you mentioned. Who knows? But when I get something, I'll make sure to report back.
Absolutely. We all want to know about it. That's for sure. Well, Crystina, thank you so much for joining me. And we look forward to visiting with you again down the road. And maybe when you get, especially when things retool and you're involved in your next venture, we'll be happy to talk about that to the world as well. Take care.
I'm gonna hold you to that now.
You're always welcome wherever I am. Wherever I have a voice, you are somebody I always want to be involved. So that's for sure. Take care.
Thank
Well, that
you.
is Crystina Poncher, who, as I said at the beginning, is carving out a fantastic career in boxing broadcasting. And you saw here on this show a demonstration of exactly why that is the case. Well, we hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time on our Big Time Boxing Show. A reminder that if you like what you're seeing here on the Celia Promotions channel and all the other places where you can see this show, just like it and subscribe, and we'll be back with a lot more content, including my Hot Topic show, which you also see on the channel. Take care, everybody.